And so to our top story and the fate of Donald Trump and his permanent ban on Facebook. The Facebook Official Oversight Board says the company can't punt every decision its way. Speaking to me on this programme, the board's head of communications said it's Facebook's responsibility to act.
The board was asked the question, which was, is Facebook's indefinite suspension appropriate? We've told them clearly it's not. Facebook has a responsibility to act here, right? They can't simply offload their hard problems to the board or anyone else. As a company which makes the rules and builds the technology, they have a responsibility to act first and to act fast. We've told them to go back and make another decision.
An independent group that calls itself the real Facebook Oversight Board says the official one is trying to have it both ways. Its co-founder is Carol Cadwallader. She joins me now from London via Skype. Carol, it is good to see you. They say no, we're not having it both ways. You know, Facebook has its job to do. We have ours. You just heard the spokesman say there, the indefinite ban is inappropriate, and now Facebook needs to come up with proper policies upon which it can justify such a decision.
Well, Richard, thanks ever so much for having me. I mean, it's just, I can't, it's sort of total farce, isn't it? I mean, what we're seeing here is sort of political theatre really playing out, in that Facebook has said, right, we're setting up this body. We don't want to make these decisions. We're going to hand over our very hard decision to it so that somebody else takes responsibility for it. And then this board, which it's set up, it's created, it's funded, it's picked all the people on it, it's set the terms of reference, it's turned around and said, no, actually, it's your problem, Facebook. So it's this kind of bizarre game of tennis going on. But it's really, you know, I think the casualty here is actually what Facebook is doing in the rest of the world, the harms which are being perpetrated on its platform right now, whilst this kind of PR spectacle plays out in the public.
Hang on a second, Carol. Carol, you say this PR spectacle, but surely what's playing out is policy being made. Now, you can argue whether it's in transparency or not, but what the board has decided and sent back to Facebook to come up with a policy that over the long term can be used as a yardstick.
Well, the thing is that Facebook has policies already, and Donald Trump is clearly in breach of them. I mean, that couldn't be more simple and straightforward. And Facebook is a private company. This idea about First Amendment rights is ridiculous. It has terms of service. It's up to it it made those terms. It's up to it to enforce them. The idea that it has to spend 130 million buying up these really eminent legal law professors and so on to adjudicate on this is just a red herring. But
aren't you trying to have it both ways, Carol, at one level? Let me put it this way. On the one hand, you've just told me that Facebook is a private company and can do what it likes. But on the other hand, you're one of those who say, look, Facebook is an incredibly important institution that does have an effect in society, and we can't leave it to Facebook just to go its own way.
Exactly. We absolutely can't. This is a company which has far, far, far too much power. But the answer to that is not setting up a pseudo-judicial, not independent body which has been formulated by Facebook. That is not the answer. The answer is to break it up. The answer is antitrust legislation. The answer is for it to be a significantly less powerful company in the world. And that is what this body has no way of doing. And it has no way of interrogating even really basic things like what are Facebook's algorithms and what were they doing to Donald Trump's posts? And what was really significant was that Facebook wouldn't even answer the questions which this body that it set up asked it. I mean, and this is. I mean, I think. You know, it's not that it's in. I mean, no way. No way criticising any of the individuals on this board. And in many ways, I think it was a really clever response that it does turn the tables back onto Facebook, which is really important. But as I say, it's this sort of distraction device which does not go to the heart or the nub of what the real harms and dangers of Facebook are right now.
Carol, lovely to have you on the programme. The one thing I think of one thing we can both agree, we will talk more about this, and you'll help us understand it. Carol, joining us from London. Good night.
Thanks, Richard.